Oh my goodness gracious, what have we gotten ourselves into? It's just a casual week of CS news when all of a sudden we have match-fixing accusations re-brought back up for the 12th time in the last 5 years, and this time directly from the source of a player accusing another player out there. Before we get into that meat and potatoes of the episode, I want to share with all of you what I wanted to initially lead off today's episode with, that being Fallen, okay? All things around Fallen, he is so back. It is so nice to see a 34-year-old gentleman who has not left his prime, actually might be approaching back to his prime, or at least the best Fallen we have seen in the last half decade, when he is still doing this against the best of the best. It's just like hard not to sit back and enjoy it.
It's the headshot, that'll help, but Twistzz slides into the angle.
Now it has to be Fallen.
Let's see it, that second.
Oh, what?
The kill to Twistzz. Now it's all riflers.
Oh!
Fallen looking for a third on the round as Jimmy's on the approach. He hears that drop down, turns the op, right on the break.
No
it's
way.
a headshot.
What year is it?
And now between the two ops is Assertion. 49 health. It's
Come
a
on
quad.
now.
All on his own inside B. Fallen steps up.
That's the father turning back top.
Like, we are really witnessing greatness. You know, we talked about last major, we saw Kerrigan and Fallen both make the playoffs at 34 and 35 years old, both of whom could have reset the record that Kerrigan already has set for the oldest player to ever win a major, and there's still potential for Fallen to do so to end this year, and the question marks around, will he retire, will he stick it out with Furia? That does continue, but whenever Fallen hits a clip like that, we should make it a rule to share it on the show, because it's just so nice to see. What is not nice to see, though, is we actually have someone like Boros, who is now accused another player out there, and maybe in the realm of the ring of Chinese CS, and what could be going down over in Chinese CS being a ring of match fixing. He has now called out former Rare Atom player, that being somebody who, yes, made headlines earlier this year because they replaced somebody with trash, and of course that's all funny, but it might be tied to what eventually was going to come out around these accusations that Boros made towards him of him trying to coerce him into fixing matches. Whilst going to the club, getting some drinks, it's accused and alleged by Boros that somebody, and maybe some others that were involved, approaching him and saying, hey, would you throw some matches? This is serious. This is bad. This is bad. This probably happens a lot.
I want to talk about somebody and Frankie. I met Frankie close to the hotel, and he asked me if I want to go with them to the club, and I said okay. And after I went back to my manager and I told him that he invited me to go to club. He told me okay, you can go with them and face them. And after I went with them, and I met somebody and Frankie, and they started to buy me some drinks. And after that, when they see me getting drunk a bit, they started to ask me to match fix with them, and they will pay me some money. And I said to them no, and after I went to the hotel and they told me.
Okay. And for the first time ever, for the first time in a long time, we have a player voicing as a source. You know, we hear all these rumors, we see the VODs, the suspect and suspicious clips out there, but nothing ever gets done. We've never had a player just outright say, or at least not in a long time, just outright accuse another player of this kind of coercion, which is insane. And apparently there was a longer thread out there that was then taken off of Reddit. If you guys have it, feel free to maybe share it with me. We can dive into it together. But this is crazy and obviously very bad. We'll see what else comes around this. And Boros taking to Twitter to say, hey, all of this happened. Please retweet. Please share. Thanks to another friend of mine who got me out of this situation, which I don't know what it's like to be approached in a club after a few drinks. And if you refuse said offer, do you feel threatened? Do you feel like you're in danger? I don't know what goes down in those scenarios if you are to say no, because we've heard rumors of this before in Chinese CS. Who was it, like way back in the day, where they even, like, they talked about this openly and publicly of how scary it can be to refuse these fixers. And I can't remember the exact name, but we've heard of that before. And so apparently all of this around an event that might be the Hero Championships over in Asia. But for Boros to speak up like this, hopefully he's A-okay, and hopefully there's more updates on this in the future, whether it be from Valve or from HLTV, more on the investigative side. What is Rare Atom gonna say about this? because it's crazy to make an accusation like this. And of course, you kind of tend to believe him. I don't think he has anything to gain by sharing this information if it weren't true. So we just take it at face value for now. Boros making this match fixing accusation. And again, CS has been supposedly riddled with this for some time, especially in the lower tiers. Just nothing was ever done about it. You know, the time where Counter-Strike pros were transitioning to Valorant, and some were maybe going to be pursued by the FBI, and that never came to be. So yeah, I didn't expect this on my timeline. Hopefully something comes from this for once. People who match fix deserve to be punished and never play the game again. Some more lighthearted news out there. Someone I talked about when he was 15 years old, winning his first official CS event / CS LAN, that being Mail09. I believe he's Swedish, but he's a young up-and-comer that has been highly touted for some time now and has recently reached #1 on FPL / FACEIT in the world, which I think there's a little bit of back and forth on the number of matches played. Regardless, though, you look at his stats and his credentials at such a young age, it's pretty crazy to see the people that he has beat out, and he is definitely one of the up-and-comers that a lot of teams, especially some Swedish teams, that can maybe use a bit of this eyeball candy, like, hey, new up-and-coming kid, maybe a rejuice to our lineup, because we haven't seen Swedish CS do a lot in a long time, you know? I mean, even America's tiptoeing up there in the leaderboard when it comes to these countries who previously had done some great things, right? You think about Polish CS, you think about Swedish CS, you think about Danish CS. I mean, North American CS is kind of in the same ballpark. That might be offensive to say, but someone like Mail could be a real rejuicer to some of these lineups, and he is definitely being watched on. So yeah, cool to see an up-and-comer. Last time I talked about an up-and-comer at the age of 16, I think back to the days of Frozen, and we've all seen the things that he has done. So yeah, that is definitely one of the talents people are keeping an eye on right now. And very lastly, for all of you guys, a great interview by Eric. I will be linking down below because Temperrr, one of the FaZe members, answers a lot of other questions. I will say take this interview with a bit of a grain of salt. I have an interview with Temperrr on this channel in case you guys missed it during the major. Super thankful for him to give us the 4 to 5 minutes he did to answer some of the questions. I don't think, and he also self-admits that he has the hands-on decisions, or as near as hands-on as other members of FaZe, but he is willing to speak on this stuff. So even in this interview, he'll say, hey, I don't have all the information, but he'll give us bits and tidbits of information out there, one of which was Simple, and talking about the loan amount that FaZe paid to have Simple for about a month in the lineup. He kind of tiptoes around this, and I'm not sure if his answer means that they didn't even spend $50,000, or if his response in terms of no was him saying he can't answer the question. So take this with an extreme grain of salt. We don't really get too much information on the amount of money they paid for Simple, but it might be less than 50 grand. We're not really sure.
Say approximately what price of rent Simple for 1 month?
I can't get into the logistics behind that.
Maybe, okay, can you say just it's more than 50,000 per month or not?
No.
And then we also find out why Twistzz left back in the day, which I think a lot of the answers in this interview are kind of self-assumed. They talk about the Nico and Kerrigan moment of those guys and why Nico had left FaZe. A lot of the stuff we assumed what the answer would be, but now we're getting some more confirmation behind that. Of course, that being Twistzz going to Liquid because they offered to build a whole team around him, which we now very well know he is the centerpiece. He is maybe making some decisions, a lot of decisions around that roster. So it's a lot of information that we knew, but we're getting more credence to that information.
Opportunity at Liquid to he got a big opportunity at Liquid to kind of build the team how he wants, and they're going to build the team around him and all this stuff, and he felt like it was the right decision. I think there's some more intricate things that I'm not too familiar with. Maybe some disconnects between him and the rest of the team. I'm not sure, but yeah, he felt like it was the right decision. And I remember, Eddie, he's like our manager. He was
Yeah,
he's always with the guys.
Of course, yes, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, he told Russ Twistzz, are you sure this is what you want to do? Because if it doesn't work out, and if it doesn't work out, then you're gonna look at this as a big mistake, And then unfortunately, it didn't work out.
And then very lastly, maybe what we did not know, maybe what we wanted was the people that FaZe tried to sign or at least had interest in during that brief offseason. Simple was obviously one of them. Apparently M0nesy before he transitioned fully out of G2 and of course went to Falcons. M0nesy was on their radar and Kyosuke was also mentioned, but it seemed like of those three, obviously Simple was the majority there, but M0nesy was a potential, which would have been really cool to see, I feel like.
Look at the top 10 of teams and players who you could sign, but you didn't because of some problems with communication, something.
Simple.
Simple first. Zyvo?
No.
No. Xantares?
No, I mean,
M0nesy?
yes. M0nesy, yes.
Before G2 or after?
The transition as he was leaving G2.
Uh-huh. Wow. What about Kyosuke in FaZe?
I brought it up many times, like early on, like, when was it? I don't remember, but I brought it up. But it just didn't make sense.
But yeah, all in all, a lot of nice information around FaZe, and I think one cool takeaway was, you know, Temperrr's a big Call of Duty guy. He also said, I wish I would have quit Call of Duty a long time ago and only played Counter-Strike. It's nice to see these FaZe guys, they do appreciate Counter-Strike, and he's one of the few FaZe guys, he shows up. Like, he was at the major, right? He is watching the matches, he is watching his team, and you got to respect someone like that, and having a love for the game that they partake in and still play a huge role in. But until next time, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you guys for stopping by for some more CS news. It's going to continue. The drama is going to keep on going down, and if anything comes from the match fixing scandal, of course we'll be talking about it. Till next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you back here sometime soon. Ta-ta.